Come on, get a little louder. It's a protest. There we go. Let's let people hear us across this town, across the country, across the state, across this world. Come on. Next up, I have from AMP, Hafseh Habeh. Give it up.
I feel like I'll trip if I go up there, so I'm not going to try going up the stairs. My name is Hafseh Habeh. I'm here on behalf of AMP New Jersey, American Muslims for Palestine. I'll be reading from my phone because I'm a very awkward speaker. So today is June 5th. Today Breonna Taylor would have been 28 years old. She would have been starting her life. In Palestine, Ali Ayman Saleh was killed on his 15th birthday. Today we honor the lives lost to racism, white supremacy, ethnic cleansing, and occupation. The similarities in our struggles is a testament to the similarities in our oppressors. For far too long, Israel has enjoyed a blank check from the U.S. government that it spends with total impunity. It uses our tax dollars to murder, imprison, torture, bomb, occupy, humiliate, blockade, and violate the rights of Palestinians over and over again. Despite the actions taken by members of Congress to block the sale of bombs to Israel, the Israeli government is unrelenting in the demand of even greater amounts of weapons from U.S. taxpayers, us. Israel is expected to request another $1 billion on top of the $3.8 billion that we already gave them this year. And Senator Lindsey Graham says he's going to make sure in the Senate that they get the money. This is the same senator who blocked the COVID relief stimulus checks because we didn't have the money, apparently. Now we have the $1 billion to give them. They continue to lie to our faces, these representatives, and they steal our money to support the killing of our people. We have had enough. We call on the Biden administration and our representatives of New York and New Jersey, both district and Senate representatives. We call on Cory Booker. We call on Robert Menendez. We call on Bill Pascrell. We urge you to reject these outrageous requests that come on the heels of an aggressive Israeli military assault that left over 200 people dead, and including over 60 children. It's time to sanction Israel and hold them accountable for continuously committing war crimes. It's disgusting to know that America's police gets trained by this occupation, especially the ones we have here in New Jersey. We're spending almost $40,000 to train each officer, and there were about 120,000 that were trained in 2019. We know, and our community knows, that these funds can be redirected to refund our communities. To paraphrase Rashid Khaldi, these police and sheriffs must believe that they're running an occupation since they're learning to suppress the American people, deny them their rights, and use unnecessary brutal force to hold down a specific population. Israel already receives too much military aid from the U.S. that it uses to commit human rights violations. Between the occupation of the West Bank, the blockade of Gaza, the ever-growing Israeli settlements on Palestinian land, the forced evictions of Palestinian families from East Jerusalem, and much, much more. As long as the U.S. gives Israel money, our government is complicit in Israel's crimes. It's embarrassing to me that they have the audacity to ask for another $1 billion after they just took almost $4 billion this year. Here are some of the things that we could have done with that money to help the American people, because that's what our tax dollars are supposed to be doing. We could have increased federal aid to public K-12 schools by 30%. That could mean that a teacher can afford to feed their family or pay their rent without worrying. It could also mean that we could afford supplies for schools in low-income communities. With only $1 billion, we could build 10,000 housing units for homeless people in our communities. And we know that the homelessness rates are rising, and just because of COVID, it's risen by tremendous amounts. So why is the U.S. so steadfast on giving our hard-earned money, our hard-earned tax dollars, to people who are killing our families and children, who continue to commit war crimes on a regular basis, and who have no respect for the lives of human beings and children? To everybody here in attendance, I appreciate you and I thank you for your presence and your solidarity. We see the same racism and the same disvalue of human life in Palestine, Kashmir, Colombia, in Haiti and China. We see it in America with immigrants and black people. We see it especially with the indigenous people of this land. The history is repeating itself, and we as humans, as citizens of this free world, we have been quiet for too long. It's our responsibility to read, learn, and spread our knowledge to others. They want us. They want our fights to be isolated. That's what they want. Our unity is what will allow us to all reach our goals. Without our unity, we won't have no freedom. Without our unity, we will not have freedom. So I ask everybody to pull out their phones, go to your browser, whether it's Safari, Google Chrome, Ecosia. Open up your browser and I ask you to type in this link, LIN, as in Nancy, K, TR, dot, EE, slash, AM, as in Mary, P, N, as in Nancy, J. So it should spell out Linktree slash AMPNJ. For those of you who don't have your phones out, I'll be coming to you one by one. Okay. So pull out your phones and go to that link, and what you'll see is a whole bunch of petitions that you can sign. Let me read to you a few of them. You'll have the Block the Boat sign up. You have the petition to not send the extra $1 billion to Israel. You have a petition to repeal and replace the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. You'll have a petition to end qualified immunity. And you'll have a link to register to vote. Because your vote matters. These individuals, Bill Pascrell, Cory Booker, Alvia Osiris, these individuals are the ones that we elected in these positions. And it's time that they get removed unless they make these changes. Their complacency in these crimes is no longer going to be accepted. So thank you guys. I appreciate everybody being here.